Tonight's the night. We are just a few hours away from Donald Trump's shining moment when he accepts the Republican nomination for president. The theme for the grand finale at the convention is Make America One Again. This afternoon, Trump did a final walkthrough on the stage to make sure everything is just perfect for his close-up. His running mate Mike Pence accepted his vice presidential nomination last night. He introduced himself to the American people and told them why he thinks he was chosen to be Trump's VP.
You know, he's a man known for a large personality, a colorful style, and lots of charisma. And so I guess he was just looking for some balance on the ticket. For those of you who don't know me, which is most of you, I grew up on the front row of the American dream. My grandfather immigrated to this country. I was raised in a small town in southern Indiana in a big family with a cornfield in the backyard. Now, if you know anything about Hoosiers, you know we love to suit up and compete. We play to win. That's why I joined this campaign in a heartbeat.
All right, Mike Pence reaching out to America to introduce himself because many perhaps did not really know who he was. He kind of touched on that a little bit, Dana, to say, perhaps you guys didn't know who I am. This is why I think I was chosen. And then playing down the whole, you know, Trump has charisma. Maybe he wanted someone a little subtle like myself.
Yeah, I thought that was great. So well written, and it was written for his voice. And he wasn't trying to be anybody that he's not, right? So he wasn't like, I'm going to come out here and try to dazzle you like Donald Trump. He's like, I'm just going to be myself. Mark Thiessen has a column in the Washington Post today and saying that no matter what happens this year in 2016, Mike Pence did himself a really good service and a good service for this ticket. And a really nice setup also for Donald Trump today, who arguably, you always say this, but this is the most important speech of his life tonight.
But it really is.
And actually, this time it is.
Okay, fantastic. Greg, you're making strange faces.
No, you know what? I thought that was a great point he made about balance. He's like Teller to Penn. You know, Penn and Teller, you got Penn, who's the big, tall, loud guy, and the Teller is the guy that does all the cool stuff in the background. It's the presidential version of Penn and Teller. Pence achieved what was very important, not to be too memorable. You know, you don't want a vice president that starts, you know, wetting the carpet and turning over furniture. He went in there, he gave a pleasant speech that was enjoyable, and he's so airbrushed. He looks like somebody who would play Mike Pence in a movie about politics. Like, they don't have to find somebody. So I thought he cleaned up really nice.
All right, so Bowling, what about the message for unity, the Republican Party? How did you think this whole theme went last night? I mean, people seem to be pleased with Mike Pence and his...
Well, yeah, but don't forget what happened right before Mike Pence.
Right, yeah.
That was part of the problem. And I kind of predicted this yesterday, like this. Keep your eye on Ted Cruz. I was worried that what was going to happen actually did happen, and it did. And so Mike Pence was left trying to figure out how he's going to bring it back. I think he's a solid choice. I didn't ever think he was when Donald first said, Mike Pence is my VP, but it makes sense now. Pence makes sense.
Oh,
thank you. I'll be here one more day. And Greg highlights the fact that you have Donald Trump. He's bombastic. He's out there. Mike Pence is solid behind the scenes. That's great. But again, man, the whole rest of the night was, how are they going to fix this Ted Cruz problem?
Yeah. All right, so do you have something positive to say? You think it's going better now, or what do you think?
No, remember yesterday I asked you, do you think this convention is a success? I don't understand, because to me, this is like the worst convention I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of them, but I mean, day after day, there's no consistent message that would appeal to people who may be undecided and are looking and thinking, gosh, I wonder if I could really go. Maybe I don't like Hillary Clinton so much. You know, the real questions about her trustworthiness on her. So could I go for Donald Trump and now Mike Pence? Well, I think Mike Pence is forgettable. I got to tell you, I don't think most Americans knew him before, and I don't think most Americans are going to remember him after last night. I think they're going to go to what Eric said, which is the theme of the whole day, all the headlines, all the news coverage about Ted Cruz.
Yeah, you know, but could I just throw in there very quickly? After Ted Cruz delivered this stuff, Newt Gingrich did a fantastic job cleaning some of the mess up.
Come on, how are you going to clean
Eric Trump?
Wait a second.
Very solid
Wait, we're going to talk about that in the next block.
I know. I just wanted to make sure.
But you're right. He neutered it. He neutered it. But you know what? To Juan's point, I think that the reason why you feel that way is I think our expectations were really high because this was such a unique convention, because you had a television star, you had the specter of conflict inside the party and conflict outside the building, violence and unrest and all this stuff. So you expected this to be overly dramatic when in fact it was kind of like it has been under dramatic except for a few flashes here and there, I think.
And people tell me they think it's boring, Greg.
Well, wait till tonight.
And you know what? And part of it,
tonight,
part of the bar that you speak about was Donald Trump saying, you know what? I'm going to have the most entertaining, most spectacular convention ever. That's what he said.
Well, it's not over.
I know, that's true. It's true.
Tonight's
It's the big
most
final
important
act.
night. Dana, you got a
Yeah.
comment.
I was going to say, I've already packed. I'm ready to go tomorrow.
You're out of here.
But I also over-prepare. I did want to make one thing, make a point about the theme of yesterday, which was Make America First again. But it might be a fine theme, okay? I think Greg made a good point yesterday. America is already first, so we don't need to do that. But I think if anyone was paying attention to other media that Donald Trump yesterday, he really undercut that message with his interview with the New York Times on foreign policy. I mean, it could not have been further afar from what like Ronald Reagan talked about in terms of what galvanized the country to help protect and defend nations who might be under threat, like the Baltic states. And it's a long interview. You can take a look at it. But part of being first, and a lot of people in that room, is that they grew up believing that America is the leader of the free world, and we want to stay that way. But basically, it was talking about how we have such terrible civil liberties record that we shouldn't judge any other country.
It's very Obama.
Well, he has worse. Yeah, it was. I understand that the mass public is not looking at the New York Times interview, but I found that to be really strange and undercut the message yesterday.
But also, and I'm not sure this is what they were going for, but the country over the last 8 years is worse off than when he took over. Now, we came out of a recession, but our household incomes are down.
No, I'm just talking about the
household incomes are down.
If you want to do this, this is a ridiculous thing. Because, look, you're a big investor. Let me just make one quick point to you. You invest in the stock market, right? The stock market's at record highs.
That's it.
Oh, no, that's not it. How about wages? Wages up last 2 years.
Once you get west of, let's say, I don't know, New Jersey or east of Bakersfield, California, the rest of the country is saying, what's going on? This isn't good for me.
I was just talking about the foreign policy aspect of the New York Times.
No doubt, but Make America First again may have a lot to do with making America first on the economic stage.
I'm talking about the values of protecting people, like believing in freedom and believing that we should help them.
Our economic freedom, we're like 30th in the world.
Well, okay, then you know what? That would be a great comment for him to make. That is not what he was saying yesterday.
He might say it tonight.
Let's talk a little bit more about Pence, because he also made the case for why he thinks our country needs to rally behind his running mate, Donald Trump. Take a listen.
You have nominated a man for president who never quits, who never backs down, a fighter, a winner. Donald Trump gets it. He's the genuine article. He's a doer in a game usually reserved for talkers. And when Donald Trump does his talking, he doesn't tiptoe around the 1,000 new rules of political correctness. He's his own man, distinctly American.
Okay, so do you think that this was helpful in terms of unifying the party and saying this is why people should get behind Donald Trump? Did Pence make the case?
I mean, it wasn't that compelling for me, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't one speech where I go, wow, that really, you solved my Ted Cruz problem, you solved my unity problem that I'm seeing. But I think, again, I know we're going to talk about it later, but it needs to be brought out right now. Tonight is the night that happens. Tonight is the night. You have Peter Thiel. I want to talk about him later. Amazing guy. Followed by Ivanka Trump, followed by Donald Trump, and he closes the show, a real showman. I think you have to hold off, reserve judgment about the whole convention until we're done with the convention.
Hey, do they have a dog? Because they should have a Trump dog get up there and bark.
What are you talking about?
Shouldn't anything that is related to Trump should be up there. They should have a talking Trump steak.
Because everything Trump is awesome. So
by the way, he should begin his speech with the first paragraph from Melania's speech and go, just kidding, and then go 7 years ago.
It would be funny, like, to make a joke about it.
Make a joke about it.
That's how you get over things.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah, so Dana, we have Ivanka Trump obviously tonight too, and I mean I think that's really going to be special because she's been widely regarded.
Yep, and we're going to talk.
I know it's coming up next. Yes.
Well, keep on point,
Thursday
Kimberly.
In the convention.
Keep on point.
Oh, I did a little OCD.
I did have a point. Wait, I had a point that was something relevant. Oh, okay, about Pence's speech. So I didn't like the first and second night in terms of messaging. For me, I was like, I felt uninspired. I didn't feel like lock her up and Lucifer. I understand that Hillary Clinton is a unifying entity for Republicans.
By hate.
Exactly. That wasn't for me. What I thought Pence did yesterday was he was making the case for Donald Trump, which was what you want in a convention. You want the lead up to be, look at who we nominated. He's amazing. These were affirmative reasons why you should want to vote for Donald Trump. I thought what Pence did last night on that score was very good and better than what anybody else has done so far, except for Eric and Donald Jr., the sons.
Who we will be talking about.
Seeing later? Is that
Seeing
We're
later.
going to see them later.
Exactly.
In fact, indeed we will.
It is Trump night, but and it's also like talent night at a high school. This is where everybody's got to perform. This is where everybody came to see. It's got to finish high, and it's got to be positive and aspirational, right? Because
I don't think they should go to some dark place.
Isn't it interesting that the most successful and most compelling speakers so far have been the Trump kids?
Yeah,
Right?
they've knocked it out of the ballpark.
No, that's the
I thought you
the
liked
message.
Rudy, though.
That's
I
the
loved Rudy.
Oh, yeah. Rudy can't even talk anymore. He was so hoarse today. I mean, he said he was screaming at the mic at this. But the message, if you wanted to say, here's the message that I've taken from this convention, Donald Trump's kids like Donald Trump. They're speaking up for him. They're witnesses for him, testimonies. I think that's why my colleagues are looking forward to Ivana, right?
Ivanka.
Yeah. So, but you know what? It's all about Donald Trump tonight. I don't think anything really else. I mean, and the thing is, he's got to reach outside the TV screen to the people at home. I think Greg's not even going because he wants to stay in his hotel room to watch, because I think that's how most Americans are going to experience it.
That's exactly why I'm doing it. I don't want to watch it like some kind of insider. I'm going to be doing it in my hotel room.
Like a real man.
In my robe with a bottle
American.
of wine, because that's how America does it.
Yeah, well,
I'm a real American.
That floor, though,
Those
is
pictures are
unbelievable.
flashbacks
It's just crazy what goes on the floor. It's so much fun to watch from the floor.
Well, we're excited. Can you tell about tonight?
Can I get you?
Rosenthal.
Can I pull you? You
I
wanna
don't
come?
know. I'm lazy.
Trying to get him to come with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you in my backpack. All right,
I can
coming
fit.
up. You could.